Welcome along to South Today Sport for cricket fans. The first Ashes test was everything we'd hoped it would be. A 5-day match, a close finish and of course a wicket that offered something for everyone, and a victory for England by a slender margin. Our guest this evening, Kevin Cooper, a former county professional at Trent Bridge, knows all about that ground. I'm sure he enjoyed the result in particular. Good evening, Kevin. Welcome along.
Good evening. Yeah, great result for England. I mean, 5 days. It's nice to see a test match go that long. Test matches are still alive, certainly when we play the Australians for the Ashes. Could have gone either way, you know, it's just the way it went there. We managed to sort of work hard at the end there and hanging in, you know, keep battling away. Australia, you know, Brad Haddon came in there and scored all those runs for them, and you got Agar, you know, Pattinson, all hanging in there, all chipping away, and it was, I thought 80 odd, we could do this. No problems. I think it's to 70, 60, and I thought, oh God, no, not again.
Lunch did come at the right time, didn't it? Had they not had that break, Anderson refreshed, it may not have ended up so happily ever after for you. Yeah,
I think obviously lunch came at the right time for us. You know, we could go away, sit down, you've got 40 minutes there just to relax, get your thoughts back together again. We know it only takes one ball, but that one ball kept saying to get further and further away. So, yeah, to come back out after lunch and literally wrap it up straight away, yeah, it's a great achievement. I suppose it was a little bit sad the way it went, the last delivery, where we had to go to the review to see whether it actually was a very faint nick. If you look at and play the shot, he turns straight around to the keeper. It tells you he probably did get a faint one on there.
I think on that occasion we got the result. We'll talk about other results later on. But first up, let's talk about Trent Bridge itself. I know you spent 18 years of your career playing there. You probably don't recognise it physically, but what about the wicket itself? This was a little bit slower than perhaps your day because short balls got punished.
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of things. When we played there, you're playing a shorter form of the game, i.e. a 3-day or a 4-day game. And, you know, they always used to say the green wickets at Trent Bridge with Adley, Rice and myself, you know. And, yeah, we did go through a phase where we did get the wickets slightly greener, a little bit more grass on them. And Ron Alsop, who was the groundsman at the time, you know, he just worked out how to get a little bit more pace in the wickets, and we just bowled a different length to everybody else. So, yeah, they were a little bit bouncier, probably a little bit quicker, but a test match, you know, you want the game to go 5 days. So sort of the bounce in them is, you don't get quite the same bounce now as what you used to do.
I thought it was quite a fair wicket though, because everyone got a chance. The seamers, the swing bowlers got something, the spinners got a few wickets, and batsmen who applied themselves got runs.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great wicket all round. They talked about it may get a bit lower and a bit more uneven as the game went on, but I think the difference is when you look at wickets like that is that you've got left-arm bowlers, right-arm bowlers, so both sides of the wickets are actually being worn away. So for your spinners, whether it be a left-hander or a right-hander facing, you know, the spinners are always involved. And, you know, at the end of the day, is if you grafted hard, had a bit of patience, you could still score runs.
It looks a nice ground to play at, even with the changes. Do you like what they've done?
Oh, it's a fantastic ground now. I mean, I went back home a few years ago and I went to Trent Bridge to catch up with a few of the boys down there, and I went out to the middle with Paul Johnson, who's one of the coaches now. He was playing at the time I was there. And we walked out to where the test match wicket was. Well, there's two that they use right in the middle there. And John says, oh, which is the test wicket? I said, well, it's either that or that. He says, yeah. But he said, now look at extra cover. And you turn around and literally you can underarm it. The ground is now shrunk big time compared to when I was there. All the new stands that they've put in, you see, they've taken up quite a bit of the ground. And from the pavilion, if you look out from the pavilion to the Ratcliffe Road end, on the right-hand side of the ground where there's the big stand now, that's where the nets were when I started in '74. You had grass nets all the way down that side. So
because it's a bit of an odd shape now, isn't it? Because they've made way for all this.
Yeah, that's just basically the new stands. I mean, right on the West Bridge roadside, which is the left-hand side of the ground, I mean, you can see where it comes in at a bit of an angle there. Well, that's all obviously the new stands that they've had to build because of where the main road is right behind the stand there. So you've got very little room.
And you did mention, and we were having a discussion in the break, I didn't realise you had you've still got a record here, first class cricket. Just tell us what it is, share that with us.
Yeah, Clive Rice and Richard Adley, who was obviously been there sort of most of all my career, and they both retired in 1987 after we'd just done the double. And a guy called Franklin Stevenson came from the West Indies to join us, and there's a bit of, well, woolly lass with that because he's been around a little bit. He'd had a few injury problems, and he came along to replace, I suppose, Rice and Hadley, and we both, in that one particular season in '88, had an achievement which we both took 100 first-class wickets apiece. Right. So, and he actually did the double. So he got 1,000 runs, 100 wickets, well, 125 wickets. Right. I took 101 wickets. So, from my point of view, I'm the last Notts-born bowler to take 100 first-class wickets in a season.
And that was 25 years ago.
Yeah. Well, a long while ago.
Long time ago. Well, we won't end it up. Let's get thoughts back to the Ashes series. And England have already announced that they're not making any changes to the squad. It'd be interesting to see if they make any changes to the starting lineup. Perhaps Finn might be under a bit of pressure.
I thought you might mention Finn, because if you looked him bowl on wickets where they've got a bit of bounce, obviously with the height of Finn, he gets a lot more bounce than a lot of bowlers do, and is quite effective in that type of case. But you looked at him at the Trent Bridge wicket where there's not a great deal of bounce. It didn't really work for him, and when I watch it, he struggles to sort of be able to keep how can we say, the old-fashioned line and length where he's not being hit. And if he doesn't get it right, it doesn't matter what pace you are, you just go. It's as simple as that. So who knows? I mean, they may keep him. Lords may be different again. I mean, you've obviously got the slope at Lords, which does affect batting, and he may well play. Depends on. I think they may well wait till the morning and see what the weather conditions are like, see what the wicket looks like. I mean, they're talking about really good weather through till the end of the month, so. Hopefully it should be very dry, well, it could be very hot conditions.
It's a bold statement in England, isn't it, for that length of time? The other experiment they are trying is Joe Root opening is perhaps at Test level. It didn't succeed this time round, but they'll persevere that over another couple of tests, I would guess.
It's like everything else. You can't just chuck him in and give him one game, and if it doesn't work, well, you can't just say, no, it's no good. You've got to give him 2 or 3 tests, see whether it works. Then if it doesn't work, you reassess, well, who do we look for another opener? It is a very important slot, and there's no doubt about that. I mean, that gives you a platform, what you build from, and hopefully you'll continue, to keep the vein that he's been going in. Because, I mean, prior to opening, I mean, his record at the moment is, well, it's way up there, isn't it?
All right, and the other thing we didn't mention in the intro, but was very much part of the test, was the controversies that took place, and there were several on both sides, to be fair. And the one most spoke about was Broad, the big nick, not being ever now, not walking. We all accept the fact nobody walks anymore. But my opinion about DRS, I want to know what yours is that the third umpire, in that case, should just intervene. What do you think?
Funny enough, I've heard about the Broad case. I've not actually seen it, right. But I know what's happened. You've got Broad, you've got Agar. There's 1 or 2 more decisions there that's gone to third umpire, and you think, well, is it out? Isn't it out? We know that if it's very borderline, it's got to go to the batsman. That's obvious. But should we not, this DRS system, should we not just put it all onto the umpires themselves? Take the players out of it.
I agree.
And then let the umpires make a decision. Now, you've got a third umpire sat upstairs watching everything on the TV. Why cannot, if he sees something, why can't he not then come back down to the umpire on the field and say, this has happened, or this has gone off, and use it that way. And then it takes all this rigmarole of the players, I mean, the length of time they take at the moment to make a decision, shall we or shan't we? And then, of course, then they run out of reviews, and then they start moaning when they don't get an appeal that goes their way. And because the players of today, sadly, will not walk when they nick the ball, it does cause a lot of controversy. And then, of course, when things then go against them, and then they start moaning, well, I wasn't out, I wasn't... Well, you don't walk in the first place. And I know if you listen to Ian Botham and some of the guys on TV there, I mean, they find certain things frustrating in the modern game compared to when we was playing. You had a lot of the guys would walk in my era, which made life a lot easier for the umpires, because they're under a lot of pressure now. But with TV, the microphones, everything that's going off now, they're under a lot of pressure. I agree. Let's help them. And just very, very quickly, the prospects of the second test. I thought that was Australia's perhaps best chance to win a game. They might struggle a little bit now. They're behind the. I don't know. I mean, from what I gather from home, I mean, the papers was writing us up big time. We're going to beat Australia easy. turmoil they're in, everything they've gone off the Mickey off for getting rid of him, you know, they're not in a good state, nobody's getting runs, yet look what they're going to do. You never knock them down. There's always somebody in the Australian side stands up